Hey everyone, it's me, Sancho Mexico, with my good best friend,
A guy who smokes weed, and welcome to the podcast.
the podcast.
Did
Well,
I say that the podcast?
the podcast. We'll
The
think of a name eventually.
yes, one day.
Just so everyone knows, the topic is Battlefield, but podcast we'll just talk about what we've been doing for the week and other things we've heard in terms of gaming news. And I mentioned this before we started recording. War Thunder has some wacky moments going on right now. So as far as Devin is aware, War Thunder has had moments where classified documents will leak because people will get into arguments on the War Thunder forums.
Yes, I have heard this.
It's happened again with fighter jets this time. I believe the F-15 and the F-16. And holy shit, it was a whole thing. And also, the second thing, as I said, it tied in because I had two stories. The second thing is the military is looking. Well, I don't know if it's the military, but people that oversee like security systems, they look at War Thunder as a security risk now
Oh god.
because they don't want people that play the game that are on the forces to just leak the documents they know, and that's really fucking funny to me. Also, kind of alarming because no, this jet should perform this way. Here's the documents to prove it, and they're leaking classified government documents. Just it's wild. Why do they got to do that?
Yeah, that is funny. Is this? I know I heard about a leak like this a couple months ago. This is a new one.
A new one. I think the
Okay.
last one was China.
Yes.
Was a Chinese tank. This is now American stuff. And I think before the China one, I think it was a British tank, if I remember correctly, but I don't recall the order of these. It's fuzzy
It's fuzzy.
in what order things have leaked in. Also on the topic of gaming, still obviously not War Thunder related, but gaming. Um, Supposedly there's been leaked status of Redfall and Starfield, where Redfall and Starfield are kind of in a rough shape right now,
Oh, don't
and
do that
that
to me.
yeah, exactly. Because I obviously from my background, I love space and I'm a space boy. But supposedly there needs to be a lot more quality control for Starfield, and that's worrisome because it's Bethesda, and I'm hoping this the
The best
new
track
IP.
record with quality control, of course.
Exactly. Don't you love these bugs where you get hit by a giant and you go flying into
Some of
space?
them are pretty iconic, for being real.
That I do agree. Some of them are peak.
It's not a
Specifically,
true Fallout game unless you kill an enemy and they spaz out into space.
honestly, I agree. My favorite is Fallout 4, the vertibirds. They'll always just try to crash next to you because Bethesda was like, we need to make it look cool. And they always had them crash near you. But supposedly it's in rough shape. Not as bad as Redfall though. Redfall is apparently in better shape, but their investors want the games to be released early because as far as I'm aware, it seems like Bethesda wants to push the release date back to near the end of the year or middle of the year of 2023. And oh no, that's going to be very, very bad, as we've seen with Cyberpunk, No Man's Sky, Battlefield 2042, um, insert every other game that's dog water when it releases, when it's like, this could do some more with some more polishing. On topic of Microsoft, because Microsoft owns Bethesda, and if I remember correctly, if I saw the details correctly, because I did just skim this because I was like, oh shit, a new game just was announced and released. Hi-Fi Rush was a game that's released, which is kind of a. I saw the trailer. Everything you do is on beat to the music in the game, and I was like, you know what, that's kind of cool. And when I heard about that, I immediately downloaded it because I wanted to try it. I've not played it yet, but it looks interesting. I think Obsidian worked on it. I can actually look that up real fast. Oh no, okay, it's published by Bethesda, developed by Tango Gameworks. But it has I guess, anime style, the cell shading. I like that. I'm already a big fan, so I'm excited to try that out later, probably tonight actually. Me and Devin here just also watched the Minecraft Legends trailer that was just released, I believe today. Was it
Yeah,
today?
it was today. They had the Bethesda Xbox showcase today.
The only thought really I had was, in RTSs, which Legends is an RTS from literally what we saw in that trailer, is the camera. Like you're controlling a dude and that's your camera and you're like charge from the player's position. So it's like in an RTS, normally you don't take charge of anyone. It's usually like you're God, and you're like, okay, these units go here, these units go here. So I wonder if we have a bigger role, like we can attack as well, but
I
I don't
almost
know.
wonder if it might be a little Mountain Bladey, where you kind of
Yeah,
have your player and your perspective, and then from there you take control of units, send them out, pillage and village, and do whatever. It also looked like there was quite a few base building aspects, which of course it's Minecraft, you would kind of hope so. So that's got me excited. I wasn't sure like if this was going to be kind of like you're placing prefab buildings like a traditional RTS,
mm,
um, or if it's going to be something a little more maybe stone hearthy.
I missed that game.
I know it's oh,
It could have been big.
it could have been so much better. Could have been so much. I honestly could have.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Minecraft Legends is good because I'm down for Minecraft RTS. I'm down for Minecraft almost anything,
Honestly,
right? Like we already technically have Minecraft FPS with just the base game.
I mean, yeah, we got all the Minecraft Minecraft Overwatch.
Oh God, what the fuck?
Yeah, there's the the modders and we're not even modders. I don't even think it's modding anymore. I think it's all in because they have all the new in-house what is it called?
Like the workshop, the marketplace?
Not the marketplace, but whenever when they started like letting more coding and everything into Java, and they let like redstone stuff. I don't know how to explain this,
Is it?
but
Are you talking about command blocks? Where like
yes,
people
command
will use?
blocks. With
Okay,
command
I
blocks,
see.
people make all sorts of custom content with
That's
command
true.
blocks, including custom texture, and you just install resource pack or something, and you can play Overwatch with all of the same Overwatch abilities. The
I don't think I've seen that.
marketplace is extremely interesting. I didn't understand. I guess I've been in the dark. I didn't know that the marketplace also had like gameplay changes like, until I saw the other day they're releasing an Avatar: The Last Airbender pack. I don't know if you saw that,
No, I
but you
don't
can
play
literally
Bedrock.
bend. Like you can
I
just
mean,
install that for a couple bucks, and you can do full bending like a mod would allow, which is really cool for
like
people
actually,
playing on consoles and stuff that don't have access to mods. But even then, like I don't think there's a Minecraft airbending or Avatar mod. So now there's some official Avatar support out there for all the
I
fans.
mean that's, I mean that's pretty cool. The marketplace is really cool because it's like implemented to the game, so it works really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's not jank like how some mods are. But the closest thing we have for an Avatar mod, I think, is the Monk mod, which you have to do weird, dumb challenges, and you like get stronger. And one of them is like Blake, you break blocks with your fist for long enough, you can now just punch obsidian with
Oh
your
damn.
hand and just mine it with your hand. And one of them is you fall from a certain distance, you now just don't take fall damage. Or if you are in the air for long enough, you can now just fly. Creative flight. I'm like, I guess that's the closest thing. Earthbend with your fist and mine away. I need to look at that Avatar thing. That actually sounds pretty cool.
No, it's really cool that they're doing more. Like at first it was just like texture packs and stuff like that. They'd be like, "Oh, here's your avatar texture pack," and it would just make things, or they'd release their texture packs with a map, which is cool and all. And there is a map you can actually. I think they released basically the avatar map with that pack, so you can go and fly around on Appa and go to the Earth Kingdom and the Fire Kingdom and stuff, which I think is really
Yep,
cool.
yep.
And I think I think it makes sense for Minecraft to be doing lots, especially with the looming either biggest threat Minecraft ever saw or biggest disappointments of Hytale.
Oh, that reminds me. Hightail. I saw a clip on TikTok. TikTok is now the place for news these days, apparently. I saw a clip of it on TikTok where some guy was holding like a chicken bone, like I guess a leg or whatever, and threw
hmm
it on the ground. And this swamp monster came up to it and just grabbed it and ate it.
Oh,
And just like full on animation, like you can see the monster just kind of all blocks and stuff, obviously, but like walk up to it, grab it, and just start munching on it.
no, that's
I'm like,
awesome.
oh my god, we don't see that in Minecraft, really.
I mean,
That's
yeah,
really
I mean
cool.
everything they put out, every newsletter, everything seems so full of detail and and love for the world they're designing. I just hope that it doesn't. I hope it lives up to the hype, especially now that it's been going on for so long. As far as that's always concerning when game dev takes that long after an announcement. You really just build people's expectations up so high. Looking at
Cyberpunk.
yeah, and people start attributing maybe even things that aren't promised. So we'll see.
No
We'll
Man's
see
Sky.
exactly. um, but I'm still
Uh,
hopeful.
I think the only thing that I can be hopeful about with Hytale is the fact that Riot bought Hypixel out for that.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have proper funding from a company studio. Oh, on topic of Riot, apparently the League of Legends source code was leaked.
Oh, I had seen that headline. I have not looked into that though.
As far as I'm aware, it looks like someone just kind of was like tricked someone or was like convinced someone to just leak the source code. I'm like, that's not good. Like how
Yes.
that's not great at all. It's unfortunate, but I guess inevitable in this unsustainable market we have. Oh yeah, I've been playing Monster Hunter again. Like I decided to just install Monster Hunter World and Rise and give both a shot and see which one I liked more.
Mm-hmm.
I can't get into Worlds anymore because of how different the combat is and how like cooler the combos in Rise are. Because I can
Rise
do
ruined you.
yes, because the combo like the grappling hook in World where you can like grapple onto the monster or grapple onto like certain points.
Yeah.
You can now do that in any spot on the map in Rise with wire bugs is what they call it. So you can look in a direction, launch yourself in that direction, and then if you'll start with two, but you can find a third one on the world. So you can like launch yourself in one direction, and you're like, oh shit, the monster's over there, and then turn and launch yourself in that direction. It's really cool because you will feel like a badass being kind of like Spider-Man going up and just smash with the hammer. I hit my microphone arm, but you can just smash with the hammer, and it's like you feel like a badass doing that.
That
And
sounds
it's
yeah.
and having a dog to ride as well, like that traversal is much better. I Rise fucked me up.
Rise is
I
on
can't play
PC
World
now,
anymore.
right? Is that where you're
Yeah,
playing it
it
on?
came
Yeah.
out.
Were you
Yeah,
playing it on the Switch or the PC?
not PC because I I was thinking about getting on the Switch, and then like a few months after it came out, it said we're gonna release on Steam soon. I was like, why get it on the Switch? I'm gonna wait for that.
Right.
But yeah, I finally played Rise multiplayer today before the podcast, and honestly, it's fun, just as fun as the World. Not as annoying as playing it in World. I don't know if you remember how we had to do that bullshit of we both all go see the monster, we both
Oh
all leave the
yeah.
lobby, and
It could be.
then we load back in, launch the flare. By the way, join me. All right, I'm loading it. That's so tedious. Now you just you join, even if it's a monster you don't know, because that was the big thing. If it's a monster you didn't know, you had to do that cutscene.
Yeah.
In Rise, it's just you all join the lobby or the hub, and you just start the quest, and you all just go.
Nice. They just
Because
made
the
it
friend I was
easier.
playing with, yeah, the friend I was playing with knew what monster it was, didn't tell me because it'd be spoilers. I don't want to be spoiled of the monsters, because it's Monster Hunter. If I'm spoiling the monsters, what's the point of playing the game? He knew what the monster was, but I didn't. So when we walked over there, I was like, oh shit, okay, cool. I don't have to do an annoying cutscene. And I explained the whole thing with Worlds to him. He's like, yeah, that's pretty dumb and worse. I was like, yeah. And it's just like, I'm glad. Just get in the hub. Let's get in there. Get the monsters.
No, I think it makes sense. You don't want to, as a game developer. You mean it's just frustrating to not be able to play with your friends for some weird arbitrary reason.
Honestly.
Thankfully, games are wising up to that. I'm looking at you. Wow. Thank God we're starting to be able to just group up with
Cross faction.
cross faction
Let's
guilds are
go.
coming, and it seems like we're just going forward towards a cross faction world. I'm ready to just be able to queue up Alliance and Horde for leveling dungeons. That's what I'm very excited about.
We need a
Leveling,
third
honestly, just
faction.
leveling in general with cross faction, I think would be one of the biggest wins.
Yeah, now we just need a third faction so the both Horde and Alliance can be weirdly racist to them. and
Appar-
then we have to wait years for cross faction with the third faction.
Apparently, that's still been a big problem on RP servers. I don't know if you've heard about this, but
Racism?
yeah, apparently a lot
What the
of our
fuck?
peers. There's like obviously, I think it's a lot of vocal minority still, but there are still a lot of our peers that really want to continue, uh, their dedication to Horde or Alliance and be racist towards the other faction, even though that's not really proper RP anymore, since we are moving like you're kind of RPing within the world. Um, so that's kind of funny.
They can't. They can't. They're trying to relive the glory days of Warcraft 1. They can't. They got to move on. Those people are basically uh just the veterans of our time. It was like, I was there during the war. These insert whoever they were fighting at the time, they fucked it all up. And it's just, I'm like, get with the times, old man. The time is now, old man. Insert meme. You don't editor, you don't have to put the meme in. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna third person the editor because
Oh, of
that's a
course.
bit we're gonna do now. So I've been streaming Death Stranding, and the issue with me, I mentioned not sleeping properly. The issue was because I stayed up until like 4:30 in the morning streaming, and not even a long stream. I wanted to stream at an earlier time, but I had family over, and I was like, I don't want to stream when extended family's over because I don't need them barging in and being like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Because that'd be awkward as fuck for me as a VTuber. By the way, I'm a VTuber. Fun fact. But I got to my favorite cutscene, and watching that cutscene again, I was like, "This is still my favorite cutscene. It's the peakest moment in Death Stranding." I don't know if you care for spoilers.
I don't. It's okay.
You don't? Okay. So, in the spoilers for Death Stranding, by the way, if anyone's listening and playing it right now, editor, I don't know if you want to put a spoiler tag. Uh, uh, so the cutscene, you meet up with the scientist named Hartman, and you find out that he lives life in intervals of 21 minutes, and then he dies of cardiac arrest for 3 minutes, and then comes back for another 21 minutes. And that's just what his life's been for years because he's trying to find his wife and daughter on the beach, which the beach being basically the afterlife, essentially, right? He's dying to forcefully go there to find them because the story of his life is that um, he was getting heart surgery, and then from heart surgery, they're like, okay, he's gonna be fine. So the wife and daughter were like, all right, we're gonna go to home and pick up a few things and then come back. A void out, which is basically a nuke, essentially, just the equivalent, like a big, just wipes out chunks of the map. Happened, killed a lot of people, including wife and daughter, and also Hartman. But it didn't actually affect him. It knocked out power, so life support was shut off for 21 minutes. So he was at the beach, saw his wife and daughter, and a bunch of people all going into the ocean because they're essentially passing on. Um, and was like, I need to go back there because I died. My soul is with them now, essentially. I need to find them. And that's his story, constantly just dying, going to look for them, waking back up because he has an AED on him and a defibrillator on him
Mm-hmm.
at all times. So it'll shock him back awake. So that's not how they technically work. They reset your heart. Fun fact, if you didn't know, they just reset your heart's rhythm. And that whole moment where he's explaining like the whole thing, just talking about the world, it's still good because it's like, oh shit, this is just awesome. He ends up passing out or dying in front of you, and you're like, all right, just gotta wait 3 minutes, and you get to look around his lab and like look at things just around.
Oh.
So you are there waiting for an actual 3 minutes, and then he wakes up. He's like, oh yeah, where were we?
Oh my
And
god.
it's like a funny bit, but it's just the world of Death Stranding is so interesting. And that cutscene when I first played Death Stranding, because this is my second playthrough, just was like, yes, this world is so interesting, and it gets me more excited for Death Stranding 2. I don't know if I don't think I ever mentioned this on my stream, and I don't think I ever mentioned this to you, Devin. But when I heard the tune of Lou's theme or BB's theme um, for that trailer, the Game Awards, I was about to start tearing up because that game means a lot to me in a weird way. And I was like, why am I about to tear up? It's just a video game about delivering packages. But I'm still
So
having a blast with that game.
it's okay. I am the king of tearing up in video game trailers, so I understand.
That's that's canon. That's canon to your lore.
Every WoW expansion release, somehow you're bawling my eyes out.
He wakes up. No, well,
um,
okay. You didn't have to be that honest.
so is that what you've been playing? Death Stranding and Monster Hunter?
Oh, Monster Hunter's just been off time because you got to get that game on your off time.
Oh yeah.
You don't want it to feel like work. Which I have been in that there before. But yeah, it's just only been Death Stranding. But since I'm now I'm like over the halfway point. I'm trying to think of what games to play on stream. I'm thinking of taking the easy way out and playing Minecraft. But I don't know if I should play lightly modded, heavily modded, or just vanilla. If I play vanilla, I'm gonna think it's very boring because it's
Yeah.
vanilla. So maybe lightly modded, but I'm not entirely sure on that one yet. But I've also been playing Project Zomboid on the topic of survival games.
Oh yeah,
Again,
I caught some of that stream the other day.
fun. I became a JoJo stand, and you still need to watch JoJo. By the way, I will always recommend that.
One day. I'm still getting through Lucky Star.
Yay! I'm clapping, but I don't
I'm
have that set up
only
yet.
like 4 episodes in, but
Yeah, well, there's no season 2, so you have that.
that's true. That's true.
But yeah, so there was server desync issues because I'm hosting it essentially on my PC. But the game on my friend's side thought I died, but on my end I was perfectly fine. So all they saw was the corpse on the ground moving on the floor, and then eventually the body just disappeared. But then occasionally, while we're standing next to each other and we're fighting zombies, you'll just see like zombies just getting punched back from like being hit by like whatever weapon I'm using. It's thin air, and it's like one, it's a JoJo. I'm now my friend Stand, and two, it's that one episode of SpongeBob where Patrick beats himself up, and it was really funny and goofy. And then it also happened to her. So now the roles are reversed. But I think since like we ended stream and we're gonna reload the world, I think everything will be fine after that.
Yeah, you'd assume.
Yeah, we'll
That
sync
makes
up.
sense.
Hope they do. That'd be kind of funny if they didn't. Also, just kind of good if it did because it'd be like, oh, now I know where they're at.
Yeah, it
That'd be
does,
really
definitely
important.
doesn't help anybody involved.
But yeah, that's like it with me really. I'm playing the same 4 games for the last little bit now. What about yourself? What have you been doing on
Well,
your YouTubes?
on my YouTube, I've been playing my good old Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I have learned, playing, of course, these older games. I'm learning, and re-remembering some of the, I guess, not gimmicks, but just things that were standard practice. Like, I was in Wolfenstein, and in both games, you have snipers. There's the, what is it called in the Star Wars? We have, not disruptor rifles. Is it disruptor rifles? Basically, no-nos in the Star Wars universe are like really illegal weapons. And they talk about them in a couple of the, like, they show them like being smuggled in Star Wars Rebels. And I know there's one, I think, that shows up in Mandalorian. But they basically just disintegrate you to dust.
Oh, isn't that what literally Mando uses?
Yeah, he has one. Yeah, they're like super,
Yeah.
super powerful.
Yeah, I'll look that one up while you're talking.
But yeah, anyways, so that's the sniper rifle in the Star Wars. I'm playing Star Wars Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast right now. So that's the sniper rifle in those Academy games. And then,
Forget
of
the name,
course,
by the way.
what's the name?
The Ambin Phase Pulse Blaster has like the little points at the end, and it like he shot a Jawa, and the Jawa's gone.
Okay, that's not what I have.
Hold on, I'll put the image. I'll send you the image.
This disruptor rifle.
Is it not that? I sent you the image. Editor, you can put the image on if you want. That's up to you.
No, that is the Mandalorian. I just think I think I am thinking of a different game, a disruptor rifle. But yeah, so they're illegal and whatever. Anyways, you can scope in with a gun.
Mm-hmm.
But I realize in these older games, I don't know if it's standard practice, but at least in both Wolfenstein and both of the Star Wars games I've been playing recently, you can't move while you're scoped. You have to stand still. But I did learn you can crouch move while you do scope. So that's helped me out a lot because
Damn, move while you're scope. That's interesting. That's definitely a newer thing.
No, yeah, nowadays, no, like you can move. Usually your aim's off, or but you can at least, I can move around a corner and then like hold still for a moment and take the shot. And that was a big problem because in Star Wars, like I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, and there are sections of the game where like there quite literally were maybe 10, 20 different snipers that could all shoot you at the same time. So trying to peek these corners, I would peek and they could basically immediately one tap me.
Yeah, because you have to then
But
scope in.
but I couldn't, and so once I figured out you could crouch, and it helped a lot. And of course, it's a disruptor rifle. You can't, like, whatever the beam type is, it's not like a laser. You can't deflect it with a lightsaber. So even with a lightsaber, you're defenseless. You just have to hope they miss.
It's like a slug thrower. Guns, essentially, not blasters, guns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was not very catch my. We got through it. I also just those games are easy to get lost in. There are just like people are like, oh, games are too hand-holdy nowadays, and some are for sure, but there are definitely still things that games have done to just make life a lot easier or a lot nicer. It's kind of annoying going and just like there's literally no direction. Like I click a button and it's like it'll show, like I clicked a button and it showed me a door opening, and then I went through that door. Of course, that makes sense, right? You go through that door, and then I got stuck again. There was nothing to do. Little did I know that button also opened like another door, like 20 minutes backtracking. Like, how would I ever have known that? Literally going on, I use a walkthrough sometimes. I go on this person did a 4-hour video of just running through the walkthrough, just as quick as you could, just to show it off. And literally, I have no shame because of how bullshit some of the things I had to do with no direction were. And secondly, like the top comment on the walkthrough was, "This game is so easy to get lost in." I also learned that this game is a lot like, it took me a moment to realize that the second Star Wars Jedi Knight game is just, they do a lot more force puzzles. The first one had like no force puzzles, and the second one, now we are just force puzzles galore. So I wasn't expecting that, so I wasn't looking for force puzzles because I was just playing the first game.
Getting in their element.
Yeah, they are. No, it's definitely it's really good. I've been having a lot of fun with it. But I've also been running into some glitches, which I'm not sure if that is the mod I'm using to kind of zhuzh up the game, make it look better and the combat more fun, or if that's the game itself. I'm sure it's a little bit of both.
Probably both.
But yeah, besides that, I've been playing Minecraft as on my stream and having a lot of fun there. I'm going to be starting to get back in a little bit of some World of Warcraft, just because I don't know if you've caught up at all, but the 10.5 patch has come out today.
Oh, okay. I have not played WoW. Essentially, since I hit level 70 and a little bit after, I'm not done with the Azure span yet, or the Azure Wield. I forget the name of that zone. I'm not done with that zone yet, but I hit 70. Did a little bit more, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm good for a bit. I'm glad that I don't feel pressured to maintain playing WoW right now. So I'm like, I was thinking maybe I should pick up Final Fantasy 14 again. But I'm like, but wow, the patch is just. When I saw that the patch was announced to be released literally today, because I saw the news that was out today. I was like, oh shit, maybe I should play WoW. Though I have to reinstall it because I was trying to figure out what the hell is making my space go away in my hard drive. Yeah, maybe I'll get into WoW.
Yeah, the new patch is adding the trading post, which I'm very, very excited for, which starts February. Really. I mean, yeah, it's kind
of. Oh, now you agree with me?
No, okay, it's a battle pass in the sense that it is a bar to fill, and you get goodies. Really?
Yeah, that's literally the only reason why I said battle pass. It's a bar to fill, you get something.
No, it has like the visual almost of a battle pass, but it's not, and you don't even get items, you just get currency. But I'm very excited. I know I already have a monthly sub, but if I didn't already, I would definitely be doing that now because I'm a sucker for these shop things they've added. They look so good. There's so many cool transmogs, mounts, and they just announced that if you would like to get the really cool Night Warden armor, or one of the colors for the Night Warden armor, which players have been waiting for so long to get like a transmog that looks like the Wardens. Um,
Hmm.
if you'd like to get that, you have to fill your bar 12 times. So you have to
Yeah.
do it for a full year.
Oh
Or,
no.
obviously you can miss a month and just do it. It'll just take you 13 months if you miss a month to get it.
Mhm.
But it's a year. It's basically a year-long achievement, which WoW has a couple of, and I'm
Yeah.
not opposed to them. I do wish the reward was. I mean, it's like hard to say that I wish the reward was better because it is a really cool transmog, and I'm absolutely going to use it, and I fucking love it. But it's also like I feel like it's like I don't know. It's hard. It's hard. Cause I'm like, is it worth 12 months? I guess. I mean, really, truthfully, if you're just doing the stuff anyways, like you're not
You'll
really
get it
doing.
eventually.
Yeah, you're not doing much to do it because like the stuff is really easy. It's like you have to. I think you have to get a total of 1,000 points
Mhm.
to fill the bar all the way, and it's like for 100 points, you like do a dungeon.
Oh,
For
okay.
100 points, do a battleground. For 100 points, do
Oh no.
10 world quests. It's like, and
Okay.
there's like 50 things. You don't need 50 things to unlock it. You just have lots of options.
Okay. That's actually really
So,
nice then.
truthfully,
It's
you
not like
should if
Overwatch.
you just play, a couple days a week, if you're like a weekly player, if you're keeping up with your heroic or mythic runs or dungeons or whatever, you're going to just earn this naturally. And so it's just free stuff for players that play a lot.
Yeah.
Um, but it might have the unfortunate effect of some people feeling the FOMO, of course, where they're like, okay, well, now I have to have a sub because if I don't have a sub, then I miss out on the stuff. Um, but it's I don't look at I try not to look at that. I feel like it's just extra goodies for people who like to play. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely gonna be keeping my sub for that whole time because I want the mounts and every time you fill the bar, you also get like something cool. Like this time you fill the bar, you get a lightsaber mount. Um,
Ooh.
and then you also can buy another. Like if you just play a little bit, you can get 2 or 3 free mounts. You can get a transmog sets. You can get individual
Free.
transmogs, weapon transmogs. There's just so much stuff. They're supposed to release a jester set, which is really cool.
Huh.
Um,
So you can be a clown while playing WoW.
exactly. But yeah, I think that. Oh, how could I forget? The last thing I'm going to say while I was playing is Arceus. Thank you for lending
Oh
that to
yeah,
me.
you're welcome.
Absolutely fantastic. I finally, I did. I don't know if I said this. I beat it.
I
Well,
don't
I
think you
so
told me you were
there's
close.
basically 3 endings to this game. I won't spoil the endings for you, but 'cause I know
Yeah,
you
I
haven't
haven't
beat
beaten
it.
the game.
But you beat the main story of the game,
Hmm.
and then after that, you can go around and get these items, and the credits rolled like you're in the end,
Hmm.
at post game basically. But you
Yeah.
then can do all this stuff, and then you fight basically a second boss, and a whole new, like, kind of little story unravels, and you beat the game again. It's like one of the true, like, I guess the true ending.
Hmm.
And then, if you'd like to see the true ending, you have to catch every Pokemon.
Oh.
So now I'm
Oh.
on that, which I've already caught. I think like 190 out of 230. I'm most of the way through the Pokédex because I've just been. That was kind of my goal. I also have I have half of an Alpha Dex.
Bruh.
I've caught alphas of a lot of Pokemon. My whole team's alphas. It's great. It's so fun seeing like a giant Lynx. um, it's great.
Man, that game was just fun. The
No,
catching and even like how rewarding it feels to be like, all right, time to go back to town. And you talk to the guy, and he's like,
oh yeah,
"Here's
you get
what you've
all the
done."
things.
That's so
Yeah. Oh, it's
satisfying to
so
see.
good. It's so good. Also, the twist of who the like second ending boss is was actually done really well. I'm like, I fucking love the story of this game. I love Arceus. I'm very happy to have played it. I'm still playing the hell out of it. I think I'm now 50 hours into my save.
Nice.
So we will see how far that goes. But I'm excited to then play Pokemon Shield after that because I remember playing it a while ago, but I never.
Ew. Sorry, not super strong feelings with the game. It looks really nice.
hmm
I just wish we had the national decks. I'm one of those
mm.
motherfuckers. Like, I will give me all Pokemon because I want to be able to have a Cyndaquil eventually. Because
I
I
just
don't give a
caught
shit
three
about some Pokemon.
Cyndaquils.
Those roam.
Um, So you know how
Is
there's
it like post? Is it like post game stuff?
yeah, but like this is kind of funny
Oh,
actually,
okay.
and it's not really spoilery, but it's funny. So you know how there's like the
Mm.
mass outbreaks?
Yes, yes, yes.
There's massive mass outbreaks
Oh.
eventually.
Okay. I don't know if I've gotten that far.
No, because
Maybe,
that's
maybe.
after the end of the game. That's after credits.
Oh, okay. Then no, I don't think I've gotten that
So
far.
yeah, and eventually, basically, instead of having one mass outbreak on the map, you have like 20,
Oh shit.
and um, that it seems like now each mass outbreak is a specific Pokemon,
Huh.
and it can seemingly can be anything because one of them was baby little Cyndaquils. So I literally just and you to defeat it, you have to either catch or defeat all of the Pokemon. So I
Hmm.
caught 3, and then I just went on a genocide of Cyndaquil. You literally have to kill like 20 of them,
Bruh.
which is kind of bullshit because this is the game that they decided not to put any AoE attacks in the game. Actually, there are AoE attacks that were in other games, but they just don't do AoE damage in this game. They're all single target attacks, which is kind of bullshit.
Yeah. The combat system in that game, just the turn based, is I don't know. I don't know if I like it that much because it does to me feel like a secondary thought.
Hmm.
So like, let's do the catching, let's do the exploration. Oh, we need to make sure combat is good. We won't focus on combat much. You can make the move stronger and it hits harder, but you can't move for 2 turns essentially. Or you can move faster for 3 turns essentially. You'll have 3 turns in a row or 2 turns in a row. And I think that's nice and all,
Hmm.
but the way you learn moves and like that whole thing, I'm not the biggest fan of. I wish you just kind of learned it like a normal Pokemon game. Oh, your Cyndaquil is now level 26. Here's Flame Blast or whatever.
That's how it
Instead of
works.
having, is it? Because
Yeah.
I remember for some things you had to go talk to someone to unlock
You
moves.
can master moves through that trainer,
Ah,
which
okay.
allows you to go strong or agile when you master a move. Or you can also just use the move. If you use the move enough, it automatically masters eventually. And yeah, every couple
Okay.
levels you'll get a new move thing. So no, it's pretty much the same Pokemon combat you were used to, except yeah, it's a little different with agile and the strong. It can be a little different with turn variation and like who goes first and this and that. Um, but no,
I
I very much enjoyed it. I remember liking Shield. I remember playing through it pretty quick. This time I'm going to take my time a little more. Um, but either way, I mean, it's just been a fun thing. Me and my fiance, we've just been, like especially since I've moved my desk and we're not really. It's not as fun to play PC games away because I basically would have to just hop on Discord with her. So it's kind of nice to just be able to sit on the bed and play. We've been playing Pokemon Arceus, or I've been playing Pokemon Arceus, and she plays, um, oh god, Link's Awakening. That's been
Yeah.
a really good time. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me in the week.
Going back to Pokemon real fast, then we can move on to the topic of the week. Um, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, while they have their issues, I think are my favorite Pokemon stories because as you said, there's like 3 stories essentially. It's Scarlet and Violet. It's 3 stories, and it is open world. You can go. There is a specific order Game Freak wants you to go, but they never tell you what order or what the proper order is. So you kind of just explore the world, but the story's good. I won't spoil the story, but my boy Arvin, his story, love the character. I love that whole story. When I did the second thing in the story, I guess the second quest, I was like, I'm gonna focus this, and I did. I did focus that, and then did everything else. But the game's just been really fun. So if anyone here hasn't played it or has been thinking about picking it up, I recommend it on a sale because of the fact. Good luck because that game Nintendo games never go on sale. If you can get it on a sale, I recommend it because it still has bugs as far as I'm aware. I don't think I've needed to patch it yet. But the game's fun. I just wish we could actually customize our characters more than just socks. Think shoes, gloves, and hat and backpack, and like glasses.
Can you
Like you
do
can't.
hair?
Yeah, you can mess with the hair a bit. Eyes, hair. It's like basic stuff, but like I can't buy a shirt. I can't buy shorts, pants. I
Oh.
can't do any of that. It's like it's just you're wearing a student uniform because the whole thing is like you're students.
Ah.
I was like I get it, but like it's stupid. I don't
It's
like.
stupid. Yeah, no, Arceus was pretty good about customization and stuff. I've been enjoying changing out the shirts and shorts and shoes and
Gotta look like a
stuff.
femboy.
That's true.
I mean, I didn't even intentionally do that. I was just like, I like this look, and then my character just became a femboy.
It happens. It happens to the best of us.
I've mentioned this to Devin before. It's like sometimes I'm femboy. I'm about to act up. But yeah, that's like it. I mentioned we were gonna spoilers for everyone. We were gonna record last week, but this motherfucker didn't want to do it because we weren't prepared. Which fair, we're more prepared now, and I'm like, we're in a groove right now.
No,
And
I think that we made the right decision. Also, I didn't have time. I had to go stream at that point.
That you stream couldn't always wait.
No, I have a countdown. If you go on my thing, it said a countdown. Okay.
I
committed.
Has a countdown.
I committed.
He committed to it. He commits to a countdown instead of being like, you know what, I'm gonna push it a day or whatever. I'm gonna push it an hour. Well, I had to. I didn't want extended family, but yeah. I was gonna talk about Metal Gear, and I'll keep it very short because I don't really feel like talking about Metal Gear. I beat Metal Gear Rising like 2 weeks ago. I beat Metal Gear 1 on the PlayStation 1 emulator. It's legal. And I beat Metal Gear Solid 2 on the PlayStation 2 emulator. Again, it's legal. And just talk about like older games not telling you what to do. Apparently, and I skipped through this part because I looked up the information I needed for Metal Gear Solid 1. On the back of the box for Metal Gear Solid 1 is a codec number you could call to like get a hint for the game from an important character, but you wouldn't have known that because the guy that you save that tells you that information tells you, by the way, the codec, it's on the back of the game box. Very explicitly says it's on the back of the CD case or the box or whatever. So if you're playing it through an emulator, what box do you fucking have? So I'm like, I don't know any of these codes. I'm gonna look it up. And because I looked it up, I didn't have to deal with that. But like, I found out that was a thing. I was like, I hate this. I hate that Kojima decided to do that because it's really dumb. Metal Gear's been fun. I'm taking a small break before I dive into Metal Gear 3, and then I need to go find 4 online somewhere. And I found out where 5 takes place timeline-wise. And I don't know if you're interested in this, but it's very interesting. Metal Gear 1 for the SNES or NES takes place after Metal Gear Solid 5.
Excuse me.
You fucking heard me. Because the character you're playing it as in Metal Gear 1, if I'm getting my details right, is Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and I believe 3. I might be wrong on 3. But definitely 4. The person you kill in Metal Gear 1 is the guy you play as in Metal Gear Solid 5.
Big Boss, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, it's been a while since I've gotten into the lore. I kind of remember this stuff, but it's like, yeah, it gets a little confusing.
Because I looked this up because I was very interested in where 5 takes place in the timeline, because I forget that these games technically take place in the early late 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. And I was like, yeah, because mechs don't exist IRL. Because obviously they just don't. We haven't seen a mech yet, besides the Gundam in Japan that barely moves. And I was interested in its placement in the timeline, and I was like, really? It's before Metal Gear 1 for the NES? And I just found that really interesting. And I don't know how far you got, but there's the scientist doctor you meet is the dad of Otacon. If you remember who Otacon, I was like, oh shit, because I thought that was Otacon when I first played, because I didn't know where the timeline of events hit, and I was like, oh my god, so many things just fucking clicked.
Yeah, if we're getting things way wrong, we are sorry. We are not Metal Gear stans.
I love Metal Gear, but
I love it too, but I've just not beaten a lot of the games. We're not as well versed.
I found this
into
shit
the
out because I
history.
looked at the Metal Gear wiki, dude. I had to like dig for. I had like 7 tabs of Metal Gear related stuff on my computers. I need to know. I was not joking. I was like trying to go to bed. I was like, I need to know, and I did just get up. I was like just typing on Google, where does Metal Gear Solid 5 takes place in the time of Metal Gear, so on and so forth.
Remember when we 1v1 in Metal Gear Solid 5?
Yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Vaguely remember. It was like a while
Vaguely.
ago.
Yeah, this is when it like a bit after it came out, I believe. I think the
Mhm.
multiplayer service for that died pretty fast.
Oh, I'm sure.
But yeah. But yeah, that's it. That's it. That's all I got to say about Metal Gear. Taking a break, but I do plan on playing the rest of them at some point. Yeah. So we do have our topic of the week.
Yes, we
And
do.
news came out about it.
Oh,
The
I don't
new
have news.
3.2
Oh, yes.
comes out next week.
Oh, God, I don't have very
class
long.
rework. Yeah, the class rework.
My battle pants.
Which is unfortunate because we
What,
have.
where are you in the
I don't know
battle
where I'm at.
pass?
I think I'm halfway through. Halfway or slightly before halfway.
I'm like level 20.
Yeah,
But if we truly wanted to, like, I know I could, like, I remember last season, I got like 30 levels in like a couple days because if you're just doing all the old challenges, it adds up pretty quick.
Yeah. You won't get to max level, but then if you just play the game, you should get really close. And then if you XP farm it, you'll definitely get
No,
there.
I definitely might be hopping on. Maybe I'll do some of that on some stream here.
I was thinking about that, to be honest.
Someday, because yeah, I need to play some Battlefield. I'm excited for the class reworks. I'm excited for all the.
Oh, we're getting gadgets too.
I know. I was about to. That's what I was just about to say. We're getting the EOD bot. We're getting new
Javelin,
launcher. Yeah, we're 2 new launchers, right? I think we're getting 2.
Oh, I think it was just the Javelin from from what I heard.
I thought we were. Well, we have the M5 recoilless. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, we have the
I thought we were also getting the small, but I don't know. I could be. Either way, if we aren't, we should. Because it's just good. I would love to do that. RPG and the small would be great.
You know what I want to see? Seeing the World War II weapons just also join into the all out warfare. I forget what the fuck they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it'd be like, tag in the story of 2042. The world's going to shit. Climate change. The storms, the tornadoes, they're a big deal. Gimmick. I think it makes sense that to the point that, like, yeah, well, the M5 does exist and we have this stuff. Sometimes you might have to resort to old stock.
No, I'm sure
really
I'm sure some factions, like, I guess the idea is, since we play as like this private military company, maybe we would never really need to use them. But you would assume certain militaries or guerrilla groups that form through all these crazy conflicts would be maybe using some old reserves. Also, it's not like Battlefield has never done it before. In Battlefield Bad Company 2, literally, if you were an owner of 1942, I think you would get the Thompson and the M1 Grand and a couple other things to go fuck around in Battlefield Bad Company 2. And so I remember playing the multiplayer when that came out and using an M1 Grand if I wanted to. So it's it's like it's not that. It's whatever. Also, they're generally, you probably weapons that most people won't use, but it's still fun to see every once in a while. You get popped by an M1 Grand.
Yeah. I just kind of wish that the portal weapons came out faster. Instead of waiting for patches. I wish like every week, one gun at least, would have been great. We would have been into a decent amount of the portal weapons if it was once a week, if anything.
Yeah, and like they could have done it, just like, I mean, they had those weekly assignments where you could earn weapons in Battlefield 5. You could have done something similar even there. You just have more reason to log in on a weekly basis than just challenges. Or even make them, if you just finish the challenges, like the normal Battle Pass challenges that are already there. Maybe that you also get the weapon of the week or something, or gadget. But I'm excited. The classes are returning. It's very, very exciting stuff. And it's kind of nice that we're also still going to, they're going to have their preferred weapons. You can still use other weapons if you'd like. No, I think everything I've read, I'm pretty excited. Do we know anything about the map yet? Have we gotten any of that?
Oh, the map? Actually, no.
I know. I think is it the 11th hour? I think is the.
I was thinking it's the final hour, but I think 11 hours correctly. We're both going to Battlefield 2042.
Yeah, we are both going to the Battlefield 2042 summit. Absolutely.
All I got to do is just type in BA, and it's one of the first things there. Battlefield 2042 Season 4 11th Hour.
Okay, but yeah, I'm very. I mean, Battlefield's always good, and as you know, Battlefield 2042 came out the way it did, and I'm just glad that they are continuing development so far, and hopefully it you know, I mean, it's already living up to a better name for sure. It's already been a lot more
Yeah,
fun playing it. I'm just excited to see what they'll do after season 4. You know, they talked about doing other content and what the game will look like at that point. I'm excited to play with the class system though. I mean, that's already a big plus.
for sure. Like, I didn't mind not having the class system, but it's like obviously after playing the game, the class system is needed because now I can definitely see what people's roles are. Like I can see for sure, like, oh, you're playing as a angel support, you can heal me. You know, playing as what's his name, Crawford, I think,
Yeah.
the Andrew Tate looking dude. Um, and just oh, okay, he's an engineer. I don't even remember. I don't even know if he's an engineer. I forget
He
the
is
roles of
engineer.
people. Okay, he's an engineer. Okay, he's gonna be able to repair stuff. You're gonna see
He's also
the
I
more
think he's actually dropping his he doesn't have a he's not going to have his sentry minigun anymore. He's actually going to have like a fancy repair tool.
really. That's interesting.
Yeah, so like I think
Huh.
anybody can take the normal repair tool, but I think he's supposed to have like a they're reworking him a little bit. I don't think he's having his sentry gun anymore.
I wonder if they talked about that in the dev notes thing. But yeah, that's interesting. I That's the one thing that, like, in terms of modern gaming is the thing you see a lot is the sunsetting of certain things going away. With my biggest complaint with Destiny 2, the reason why I don't play it, I pay for something, okay, they're eventually just gonna take it away from me. The reason why they removed the I forget what the Red War campaign from Destiny 2. I really like the campaign and the story. I can't play that anymore. Even though it's not relevant to the current story of Destiny 2, I can't play it anymore. But I would want to just because the story's good.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
it's pretty standard. It's not like in WoW you suddenly can't go play Burning Crusade if you wanted to.
yeah, and they gave us a better option to be able to play it now through
Mhm.
literally Chromie time. I just hate that a gameplay feature for some guy that's supposed to be like he's the feature of the new season is just kind of gone. So just I'm not the biggest fan of that. I wish maybe we should have kept that, but like as a deployable once, and you have to get it from a certain box on the map, sort of thing.
Mhm.
Or maybe it's in the battle pickups from 4, you can
Mhm.
grab it and place it down, sort of thing. I think that would be great instead of just kind of losing it. That's like losing stuff is the my biggest complaint, to be honest, because it's
Well,
just like
I do find it a
no,
little different in this circumstance, just because it's like I feel like this
you're
is more
wrong.
akin to like Overwatch. Like
Joking.
it's like whenever they rebalance a hero or rework a hero, it's not
Mhm.
like it's just some things that it is a game. It is a what do you call it? It's a live
Live service.
service death a team versus team game. So there's going to be balancing, and sometimes unfortunately I think that means we lose things. Certain
I
abilities, certain
agree.
things get reworked. But no, the Destiny thing is bullshit.
No,
That's
yeah,
literal just that's like if we lost a map in Battlefield. If they were just like, hey, by the way, now we're just gonna remove like one of the maps, like that
hourglass,
yeah, that would
breakaway,
feel that's more of
discarded,
an equivalent, and
rule. Those are gone, by the
that
way.
would be upsetting
Yeah,
for sure.
I. What sucks more is that since I pre-ordered like the deluxe edition, so I got all the DLC with it as well. And as far as I'm aware, right now I can't play any of that. Like the game looks super cool, and like some of the new stuff is like pretty cool. But it's like I buy it, when are they taking it away from me? They said they're done doing that, but does that mean I get my stuff back, or we're not? Or is just like, okay, no, that stuff's just gone forever
Just
now?
going forward, they're not gonna do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
which is probably what they mean. Let's be real.
yeah, sadly.
Unfortunately. Well, we are
But
here to talk about everything Battlefield today. That is our main topic today. We've obviously talked a little bit about what's currently going on with Battlefield 2042, but
which is exciting.
we'd like to talk a little more just in general. We have both some different histories in Battlefield. Myself, I remember picking up I was so excited. I picked up the original 1942 from, was it not EB? What was the game store inside of Fred Meyer's? Do you know what that was called?
I,
But yeah,
I
whatever that
don't know. I
store
think that was
was.
just the game store inside
Yeah,
of Fred
whatever
Meyer.
that was. I remember picking up the big giant, like CD box, and you'd like
I
install
missed that.
4 different CDs into your fucking computer, because they weren't big enough to hold the game. And yeah, I mean, 1942. It didn't all start there, of course. Codename Eagle before it was kind of laying the groundwork for it. Which I have never played, um,
Same.
but I have played every single Battlefield since. I've not owned every single Battlefield I've played. The only one I've not owned was Battlefield Hardline. Um,
Oh, okay.
I've played it. I played the beta, of course. I played a lot of the
Mhm.
beta, but I never actually picked it up. Um, but obviously, yeah, 1942. It all started there, going from what was it, 1942, and then was it 2142 after that, or it was Battlefield 2. Then I think it was 2142. Oh no, wait, and then Battlefield Vietnam was after 1942. Oh, such good games, such freaking good games.
Classic games.
Um, yeah, lots of different iterations. Of course, we've lost features, we've gained features. The commander modes from both Battlefield 2 and
I could do
Battlefield
without them.
4. I don't know. Battlefield 4 that was good.
Battlefield 4 was cool. The other ones, since they're older games, they didn't have much there. But 4 was just like an easy way to pass the time.
No, 4 was cool. I think it was a novel concept. I wish it just worked better. I mean, with the whole, what was it? Oh, what was Battlefield's whole browser thing?
Oh, Battle Log.
Battle log, yeah. With battle log and it like not working half the time, like you'd be like, oh, I want to join my friend's server as a commander, and it would just glitch out or it'd be weird. I know you could also launch. You could have with battle log, you could have your mini map or your full screen map on your second
Your battle
monitor,
map.
which was really cool.
Yeah.
Um, once
Very
again,
gimmicky, but
novel,
cool.
yeah, novel gimmicky, but it was cool. It was cool. Um, I got you into Battlefield, right?
Yes, I remember not even knowing anything about Battlefield because I was a Call of Duty boy at the time. I think this was around the time Modern Warfare 3 came out. I don't remember the time of events much really. And then you're like, hey, by the way, here's Battlefield 1942. And by the way, everyone, me and Devin used to hang out almost every weekend and just played Minecraft, Battlefield.
It's true. He would bring his computer over, and we would set up. I had a desk. We found this desk that was just so. It was basically a 2-person desk. It was long enough for both of us, so we could both just set up, and just for an entire weekend after a school week, we would just play games. And Battlefield was definitely one of them.
Yeah, which was weird because I got weird looks because I'm an anime boy and anime doesn't exist in real life. but but to be real, yeah, I would go over to his place all the time, just video games, and I would stay there for the weekends, like video gaming, always video games. And I'll talk with Battlefield real fast, but the one memory I will most likely never forget is we were riding bikes in the snow, and this motherfucker's like, "This is like Skyrim." I was like, "Yeah, it's like Skyrim."
Well, it was like really foresty where we were riding our bikes through. It was all snowy, and yeah,
Oh, no, it looked really nice, but yeah, it was just thinking about it now. It's just really memey and just funny.
It's like Skyrim in
But
real life.
yeah, but going back to Battlefield, you introduced me to Battlefield with 1942, and you're like, "Hold on, there's a better game, Vietnam," and I was like, "Okay, Vietnam," and that's cool. I didn't play that one as much because I don't know. I think it didn't run well because I would use your dad's laptop sometimes. It just didn't want to run well for some reason.
I
But
love thinking
1942
about
did just
not
run
being able
well.
to run Battlefield Vietnam.
Now we can. We got these supercomputers.
Yeah, now I can run like 8 of them. Yeah. No,
Like
it's
now
always
I'm
fun
like,
going back and like I'll go. I installed like Red Faction. It's like I click install. It's like done. This thing
yeah,
was a gigabyte of game or something. Uh,
I can put probably like 100 of them on my 128 gigabyte flash drive.
I know you can just throw it on a flash drive nowadays. But yeah,
Um,
obviously Battlefield, the older Battlefields were fantastic. I didn't really play a lot of Battlefield 2.
None. I barely.
Barely
I
touched
almost played
Battlefield
it
2.
once. which I was in a relationship at the time. It turns out she had Battlefield 2 for the Xbox.
Oh
I was like,
shit.
oh, Battlefield 2, I've never played it before. And then I saw that she had a fucking SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom, and I was like, oh my god, this game's my shit. We played that. I played that instead. So I
Priorities.
never got to play Battlefield 2, but I've heard great things from the Battlefield 2042 community.
Oh, it's okay. You played the Battlefield 1942 mod. That was basically Battlefield 2.
Desert Combat?
Desert Combat.
I'll never forget that mod. That just makes the game cooler, I
No,
guess.
it was obviously it was like World War II, and then now you're suddenly doing I was a crazy mod. It
No,
literally
for sure.
overhauled everything. It had custom maps. It had all the like guns and
I think it had an AC-130 or
it had
whatever, like a gunship.
helicopters. Think about that. Like the game didn't even have helicopters programmed into it. Like you only had planes in 1942, and then
Yeah.
suddenly you could. I might be wrong actually. Battlefield 1942 had the secret weapons expansion, which I think did actually have a
Up
helicopter
to
in it.
prototype helicopter.
Which so then there actually might have been some code and stuff. So it might either way, still impressive.
Yeah.
I also remember playing obviously 2142. That was the one I played. Between Battlefield 2 and 2142, I think they were on the same engine. That's the one I played more. I also loved there was some mods. I know I played a Warhammer 40K conversion mod for Battlefield 2142. Wait, no. Yeah, 2142.
Yeah, I barely played 2142 because I remember we got it, and this is Origin, Origin just came out essentially.
Yep.
And I got it, but then I made an account, but I was having issues logging into the account,
Yup.
and I had to talk to support like 2 times about it. And eventually we fixed it and we could play, but then like since then we never really played. And now playing it now is difficult because you have to log in. It was like the first DRM game essentially. Like you have to log into the servers to play.
GameSpy servers.
Obviously, no, I think it was like EA servers. Like actual you you have to log in to EA and they verify your account. Nowadays, obviously, it's now the year 2023. It's patched out. You can just play the game without needing to do that. And I've been tempted because I technically can just download the game and install whatever patch I need to give it a play again. But it's
Truthfully,
like
next time you come over, we need to like land it up.
Yeah,
because we can land with AI. That'll be fun.
Oh, for sure. I'm down. I'm actually down to do that next time.
Dear God, we just need the Titan mode in a newer Battlefield. I mean, we kind of got it in Battlefront.
Battlefront?
Well, it was kind of, the whole idea was like you played an objective based game mode, and then eventually you'd move on to the ship, which we got with some, I think the Republic Assault or whatever it was called.
Yeah, we got that, but we also got with the carrier assault as well.
Yeah, carrier assault. Yeah, that's a little more like it, and also the fact that you could just like it wasn't a cutscene like in Battlefront. It wasn't like any kind of loading screens. It was literally you defeat the shield generators that were supporting the enemy titan. You both had titans in the air above a standard Battlefield map. You drove, you captured objectives, you guys launched missiles at the enemy titan and eventually disabling their shield. And then whoever, you'd be you could literally grab these APCs or, of course, aircraft, but these APCs had these launch pods that would just shoot out. And you would like ODST drop on the enemy ship. All like no cutscene, just literally commanding your own little drop pod onto the enemy ship. And so as a defender, you'd just be like on the ship waiting, and then like drop pods would come down. You're all like fucking shoot. Oh, it was so good.
Yeah, that shit just made you feel really cool.
It was that
game mode like twice, and it was like, oh my, we were defending and attacking, and I remember just being like, okay, I'm parked. Get in the drop pod. You got in. You launch yourself up. I'm like, all right, my turn. I get in and I drop up, and we're just storming the ship. That, as a child, makes you feel so fucking cool.
So I mean, I'd feel cool now.
I mean, I feel less cool because I'll look at the graphics and be like, it doesn't look as good, and it'll like pull me out of the game just by seeing
No,
the
seriously,
fidelity of the game
if
being
they
less.
just wanted to print money, like I'm sorry, like I know people want to innovate. I know people want to do new things. If you just
Stop doing that.
remade like 2142, it would print money. Fucking print money. All the
It would,
same game
like I
modes, the
would
same
agree.
gameplay. Obviously, bring the stuff up to modern. You instead of having your little class, like the system where you couldn't choose weapons, you could just choose like a standard loadout. Obviously, it's like Battlefield. You have the class system, and you have all your guns you can choose and equip them and change out loadouts and attachments and all that stuff. But just the same game modes, having those Titan game modes, I know there's one that you had to like basically, like, I think there was one that was like a payload. I don't know if you remember this one, but basically
I don't.
it would start at one part of the map and you'd go like a predetermined path, and it was like a mammoth from Halo, like one of those giant, it was like a giant mobile base like going through a
Mhm.
path. And so one team was defending that mobile base and the other team was attacking it and trying to like set up roadblocks and stuff. That game had some really cool game modes.
That'd be so fucking cool. Like, it didn't even have to. It doesn't have to even be the 2142 like skin. It could have just been like in Battlefield 4 or in 5 or in 2042. That would have just been cool as fuck to do.
Yeah, imagine Battlefield 2142. You're like escorting the rocket to orbital. Like it's just like you have this giant like wide load truck that's escorting like a very important thing slowly through some area, and you all are defending it, and you're the enemy team is attacking and setting up roadblocks or something like that. Um,
It'd be a good way to introduce water combat to 2042 because containers are a big thing in that game. You're defending a ship full of containers,
oh, there you
and then
go.
the other people will come on the I don't know the RIB boats or the RHIB boats just
Mhm.
with the minigun on them, just blowing us down, and we're like that'd be cool, but we're never gonna get that, sadly.
Yeah.
But 2042 made modern would be the sickest fucking thing, and since it is future, you don't have to put it in reality as much because Max
Mhm.
existed in that game. That'd be cool as fuck, as that's now the
Hover
tank.
tanks,
Yeah, like that'd just be super cool to
mechs,
see,
drop
especially with
pods.
like the graphics of games these days. That'd be
Which we
crazy.
kind of like, we got obviously a little bit of taste of that in Battlefield 4 with the what is it? Final what was
I
that? That the last
I don't
DLC that came out with the like 2042, 2041, 42 maps, 2142 maps with the hover
the
tank
numbers.
and the drop pods and stuff. That was great seeing that
Yeah,
stuff in like modern. Um, and I mean, like we're inching. We've got some really cool stuff in 2042. Obviously, it's a little more futuristic than modern day, being set in the year 2042. But um,
it's it's not there, Like I feel like there's not enough
no,
of
it's
that
like I said, it's only
futuristic to be
20
there.
years in the future. Not even at this point because we're in 2023. But yeah, it's only 20 years in the future, and so yeah, it's not quite there. If they were to do like like a season of futuristic stuff, that'd be really cool.
Yeah,
But
that'd be dope as
I
fuck.
am excited. Well, actually, before we get on to that, Battlefield 3 really is the next installment in the series that we haven't talked about,
And
and you could talk about that a lot.
yeah, because I stole your fucking Xbox account to play a lot of
Oh,
that.
you did? I forgot about that.
Because okay, so the people understand exactly how it worked is that you could play on PC while someone else is on Xboxes, like on your same account on Xbox, because it wasn't the same account; it was two different accounts linked to the same overall account. So that's what we did. Is I would play on the Xbox, Devin here would play on his PC, but before that was trying to get it to run on my really shitty PC at the time, and the chores we had to do to get Battlefield and premium, because I owned the Battlefield 3, I just needed premium, and it's like my PC could barely run it. We'd have to join servers with not a full lobby. We'd be like, all right,
Or like
it's half
32
lobby.
player lobbies, yeah.
Yeah, like some maps we can't play because everything's compact together. And like I couldn't be able to run that, so we chose maps that were big. Despite those issues, I still have really fond memories of of those because it was like, you're as an adult, you look back at the younger times where you were younger and just like this was fun despite those issues. But like, yeah, I remember I forget what map it was in 3, but it was I think it was Armored Core is what the DLC was called.
Armored
But it was a
Assault.
big Armored Assault. It was one of those maps. It was like a beach town sort of resort with like a construction site off on the distance. I remember just the gunship was there, and I was in the gunship shooting stuff down, and Devin here just kind of on the ground on the motorcycle or the jeep or whatever, and like we're having a blast. And then the lobby was able to get full because it's such a big map. Not everything's concentrated. Like that was a really good match as far as I'm able to remember. I had a lot of fun just gunning shit down from the gunship, and then also being on the ground just shooting stuff.
I know you played a lot of TDM because of
I did
that.
play a lot of TDM. I was a shotgun user because
4 was cool.
yeah, I was a shotgun user because one, I didn't have much experience playing games like that because I was a Nintendo boy, so it'd be platformers, Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing. Shooters weren't really a thing I played much. So having to play shooters a lot more consistently, I found just shotguns being really good. It pissed people off because like you are using a shotgun, you asshole, you're just killing me. I'm like, just duck, dodge the bullets, you idiot. But yeah, I was dirty with the shotgun. I racked up kills because that's just how you did it back in the day. But Battlefield 3, I will always be like, that's a really good game. But to be honest, I preferred Battlefield 4 just more.
Well, it's like Battlefield 3 was such a monumental thing because it was like the first like really modern, not like modern in the sense of time, like time it's set in, but like modern is like feeling. Like obviously Battlefield
Oh yeah.
2 and beyond before, they felt very clunky. It was still kind of like the standard like very base animations, everything. But Battlefield 3 brought it into such a modern fidelity. Like after games like Crisis kind of changed how FPSs should look.
Can your PC run Crisis? Oh, so we're forgetting about the bad companies.
Oh yes, we are. Oh, Bad Company. Yeah, I got. Oh god, yeah. How can we forget the bad?
You have experience with those. I barely played 2 because 3 came out.
Yeah. So Battlefield. Before Battlefield 3, I really, obviously that we were in a less easy era of like my. I remember my I could when I played Battlefield 2, for instance, I wasn't allowed to like hop on internet because we didn't have an Xbox Live. Even and I remember in Battlefield like 1942, I don't remember why I couldn't access the servers, but I played a lot of like skirmishes and instant action, not really playing online very much. I played the campaign of Battlefield Bad Company 1. I didn't really touch the multiplayer. I played the campaign of Battlefield 20 Bad Company 2, and that was like the first big multiplayer I was really getting into, I feel like.
Yeah.
And that's also when they started adding a little more like progression. So yeah, I guess Battlefield Bad Company, obviously the campaigns they go down in history as the best Battlefield campaigns practically. At least as far as humor and just fun, I feel like go. Obviously Battlefield
have that.
5, I mean not Battlefield 5. Battlefield 1 had the grand, or we'll get to that, but those were really good, in my opinion. But no, Bad Company 2 was fantastic. Obviously, it also added one of the most iconic Battlefield systems, which is destruction. It was the first time we were seeing the destruction, which obviously has been a big staple and a sometimes controversial staple of the Battlefield franchise, whether how well it's done or not in certain games really makes it or breaks it for some people.
I have a hot take in regarding to destruction.
Let's hear it.
So my biggest complaint is this: I forget what map it is, but it was a ship just kind of crashed onto land, and it was just 3 sections where it's just houses. And normally, what happens by the middle of the match, all those houses are leveled flat, and it's just an open area from place to place. And that is the most boring map in existence when there is no building you could actually be in to shoot back because you're in the open or you're in a weird crevice of the building that's destroyed, and you have to kind of peek and you can only see like 5 pixels of openness. While the destruction is really good, I think the downfall there was making everything destructible that way in terms of buildings because all the buildings just looked the same. I think destruction in 3 and 4 reached an okay middle ground. I think they
That was
removed too
peak
much destruction
for
where they
me.
could have had a bit more destruction in, but not a lot. My biggest complaint in Bad Company is too much destruction makes the maps boring because there's no buildings anymore. It's just here's a fucking field, here's a valley.
Oh yeah.
I'm dying every time I spawn. That's it.
Yeah, no, definitely
People
there
don't
are.
like that take.
I mean, I agree. I agree. Too much is definitely it can just not be fun. I think there are definitely always should be certain buildings that can't be destroyed at all because that way you have good interior combat for like infantry. Because I'm an infantry boy mainly. I really just like I'll hop in a tank, I'll hop in a helicopter every once in a while, but goddamn infantry combat is the core gameplay for me, and that is what I love. Especially being an engineer main, it's just fun running around blowing up tanks. Throwing down landmines, going in close combat with the PDW, and having good times. Battlefield 3 and 4 will always be. I mean, right now, I mean, it's some of the peak Battlefield experience you can have. I mean, even now, you can still hop on and play Battlefield. Well, not me, because I'm
Which is the most
apparently
unfortunate
banned
thing.
from every fucking server.
You should just buy them on Steam.
I guess that would well, no, don't you still have to log in through Origin though?
I think it's a different account if you make it a different account.
I mean, I'm sure I could.
You would have to re-earn your stuff, which is the most unfortunate.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I don't care enough to do that.
Yeah.
And honestly, if I mean, with Battlefield 2042 getting better and better, if it scratches the modern itch pretty good. For me, I know I've been kind of wanting to play some Battlefield 5 though. The World War II calls.
I have a love-hate relationship with Battlefield. More love than hate these days.
Mm-hmm.
But to go back to Bad Company, I also think the story is slightly overrated. It's good, but I think people tout it as being like, "Oh my god, it's such a good story," when it's like kind of generic. Where it's like, "There's the big bad Russian, get him," sort of thing, and like it leads into the third game that we're never gonna get, which was supposedly 2042, but obviously it's not. Good story, like the characters, it's fun, but not as crazy as good as people think it is. I did really enjoy it when I played it though, because it is just a fun.
Here's what I will say about it. Is it like a terribly original story? Not at all. It's the same old, band of brothers type, you and your mates in the army, ragtag group against all odds type shit. It's just good. It's like the comedy's good. The characters are memorable. It's just done well. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but I usually hear is the story is good. I'm like, it's not. The comedy and the characters I like. It's
that's what's good, really.
That's what I like about it. That's what's good about it. It reminds me we'll get into Battlefield 1 in a bit, but it reminds me of the first war story you technically do, the tank one. It reminds me of that.
But, agreed. Yeah, it's got that kind of just band of brothers.
The camaraderie.
Yeah. Battlefield 4 really just was Battlefield 3, but better. I mean, as far as I would say, as systems, cleaning up UI, making it, here's what I say. My perfect Battlefield game. Battlefield 4, like, I guess the vibe or like the game, like it just. Actually, no, my perfect Battlefield game. No, yeah, my perfect Battlefield game would just be Battlefield 4 systems and tech and way it played, class systems and everything. But with Battlefield 3 maps. Battlefield 3, I feel like had the superior maps. I mean, obviously there were some classics in Battlefield 4. Siege of Shanghai. Classic. As much as I've played the hell out of it, I have to be in a mood for Siege of Shanghai, but it still is a good map. It's fun. It's iconic. But yeah. Battlefield 3 just had such such bangers, and the DLC maps were so good.
Oh, those
The
DLCs were
armor, yeah, armored. I was gonna say armored core. I said it. Armored assault was just superb. Even the first DLC, I can't remember which one that one was, but it was the I think like China based
Armored
DLC.
Kill.
Armored Kill. Oh, we were both
Yeah,
wrong.
it's yeah, we're both way wrong. It's Armored Kill.
um, but oh god, just so good, so freaking good. Yeah, Battlefield 4 just improved on a lot of the systems, made it a little more fluid. Didn't have as bad as a filter on it, the blue filter.
Battlefield 3 had a filter. Battlefield 4 had a more of a white filter. A lot of the stuff looked more white,
Mm-hmm.
and it just slightly more washed out. But honestly, it's like not that bad. Some
No,
maps
it's a
actually look
lot
good with
better.
it. Yeah. My perfect Battlefield, if we're going to talk about that, would be Battlefield 4 gun weapon selection, essentially, because that's a lot of fucking weapons. The class system with Battlefield 5 movement,
Yup.
squad play,
Yup.
and I think destruction, because Battlefield 5, I personally would say, had better destruction than 4. That being said, we need to bring back
I actually kind of agree with that. Yeah, I think
Levolution.
you're right. Oh, Levolution.
Levolution just made the game because you not going back to Siege of Shanghai, you knock out the tower, the fucking tower falls, everyone's jumping off the building. That shit's cool. We just need a lot more of cool singular moments. That's why Orbital, as much as I thought was an okay map for 2042, I really like because that rocket's blowing up is just kind of cool. Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm. It was I no another great example of Levolution was I can't remember the map, but it was the map where you could flood the entire map. Like it was
I think it's called
already
Flood Zone.
most what?
I think it was called Flood Zone.
Yeah. Oh, I think it was.
I'll look it up.
um But yeah, it was like a bunch of like kind of towering buildings and like little alleys, and it was like wet. But you could just drive your vehicles through the alleys and stuff, and then you could flood the whole map. And then these vehicles were also amphibious vehicles, so they could kind of float through the map. And some parts were still raised high enough to have infantry combat down there. And there was, all the rooftops had like connecting, gates and areas. So you were just now you transferred from fighting on the streets to fighting up on the rooftops, with all this other cover and like fighting, like the half of the parking garage on one of the on that map was flooded as well. Boats started becoming, you'd have boats spawn in after it flooded. I think, yeah, some of these, like, it was basically a different map
Oh
once
yeah.
the Levolution happened, which was really cool.
The the best part of that map. Sorry, I don't know if I interrupted
Oh, you're
you.
good.
Did I? Okay. So yeah, it was called Flood Zone. First off, the best part was whenever this happened, because sometimes most times when it flooded, all the fighting just got onto the roofs of the building. But the best parts where not the whole building would flood, it's like halfway. So you'll have the interiors of the buildings you could
Mm-hmm.
walk through, which is like long hallways and corridors that connect with other buildings through like small like metal platforms you could walk across. Those moments where you're fighting in between those buildings and hallways were like really fucking cool. And you're like
Oh,
running through,
such
just
good infantry combat.
suppression. Like Battlefield 4 had really good infantry combat, despite me being a filthy little bird tank main.
You
Not
didn't
by
do a
much
lot of
though.
tank.
I did love my tank and little bird, but most people took them. I did play a lot more infantry.
No,
Battlefield
absolutely
4 just
fantastic.
felt so good.
Four
And
was
it sucks.
4 was so good.
And it sucks that I feel like we may not get there for probably the next two Battlefield games.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, that we're gonna talk about that, but yeah, we have whatever we're supposedly getting a new Battlefield game this year now, 2023. So,
True.
who knows what that will be and what that will look like and what era it will be set in. I mean, obviously they have lots to choose from. I think they will. I mean, I can't imagine them doing World War One or two. I
No, not right now.
assume
It still feels
it
too
has
soon.
to be Vietnam or after.
I think Vietnam would be a good place to go back to
Yeah, if we're gonna go
because
backwards, like not do modern or 2142 too. I think we're going backwards. I think Vietnam is as far back as you'd want to go, because I think people are still itching for more modern. We had Battlefield 1, we had Battlefield 5, and they were great games, but like I don't think we want to go back to that so soon.
yeah. Maybe they could do the Korean War. The U.S. was a part of that one, as far as I'm aware. which would be a very different sort of take on Battlefield because
Mm-hmm.
you don't really hear about the Korean War. I very rarely hear about it. If anything, it's like a TikTok talking about like, oh, here's something that happened in the Korean War, and that's sort of it. But if they were to go Vietnam, they have to bring back Battlefield 5 movement because that would feel really satisfying in a game like that.
I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think Battlefield 5 movement should have just been the standard. Like, I don't, I once again, innovation is great. You know, things should change, but I think once you find one, like, I think the movement really was peak in Battlefield 5. I think they found the best movement, at least currently, that we've played. And I don't know why they wanted to take away some of that in Battlefield 2042 instead of just keeping, like, you did it. You don't need to really take that and make it standards. That way you can work on implementing and improving other things that need it. Because yeah, that was unfortunate. Like, I feel like we lost the role. We lost. I know some people didn't like it, but I fucking loved the fact that you could get knocked back from explosives, all
I
crazy.
think
Like
that's the most realistic
the
thing.
V2 rockets were fantastic. Getting just launched across the fucking field. It was great.
Yeah, having that in 2042 would be dope. Just like calling not a V2, but a missile that
Mm-hmm.
just blows up a big chunk of area
Even
would
just
be
a tank
terrifying.
shooting, they don't quite hit you. They hit near you and you just get blown back. I mean, that's what would also happen in Battlefield 5. If a tank didn't quite hit you, they could still blow you the fuck back. They could still ragdoll you across the place. Like, it wasn't just explosives in general were doing that. And that was really cool.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1.
My favorite Battlefield game aesthetically, I
Oh,
think my least played Battlefield game,
I
which
don't.
sucks too because that's at the time I didn't have the PC hardware to run
Oh,
it
yeah.
super well. I was able to run it, but like sometimes some maps just were like, no, you fucking suck. Good luck, good luck running this dog water of an optimized game.
Yeah,
Uh,
Battlefield 1, like you said, definitely nailed. I don't aesthetic and also I guess, what is it called? Oh god.
Atmosphere.
Atmosphere, just getting into the headspace of the game, like just all the little details, the uniforms, like the fact that obviously it's the World War. It was not just like one faction versus another. I mean, obviously Axis are allied, but it was very much you had all these different armies, so that was represented. You played as the French, you played as the English, you played as the Russians, you played as Hungary, or yeah, I think you played as all these different.
Yeah, like Italians. You played
Yeah,
as
so and they all had different uniforms for
the Ottoman
each.
Empire. Yeah, like
Yeah, and that was so cool. Like like just everything about that game, the detail. And I mean, I think that's the thing. Like we're not here to just dog on 2042, but
kind of are.
there's reasons that we have to unfortunately say these things because, yeah, once again, a lot of things just feel like they're taking a step back. Even Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, I think did some of the best, but like Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, you walked around the maps and they just felt so done. Like everything looked lived in, everything looked, just
Rugged.
more detail. Like 2042, and obviously the map reworks have helped, but there are still sections of certain maps that you're just looking through, like everything just looks clean and like weirdly like nothing has ever happened in the city, like almost like at least in Battlefield 4 and 1 and 5 things looked really a little more gritty and war torn and detailed. Just more stuff about pamphlets on the ground, bricks on exploded buildings, just things like that. Battlefield 5 and 1 did really well.
Yeah, my favorite thing with one, as we just said earlier, the atmosphere really fit because and I recently played Battlefield 1 with a mutual friend of ours. I won't say his name, obviously. And we recently played it together, and we both decided let's play a match or a round with our HUD off. And
Mm-hmm.
that was like one of the most atmospheric. I guess I've done it before, but it was one of the more atmospheric things to do because you'll hear the gunshots firing. You'll if you don't look for the uniform because you're used to like oh, that's a blue dot, that's friendly. You'll now have to pay attention to that a little bit, like that whole like, okay, that's a friendly. Okay, got to shoot over there because that's the foe. Like that was really cool. Just being a squad leader and saying to charge and hearing the whistle while everyone else is also running because you captured the point, running to the next point, just felt really good, and you felt like there was a war. And yeah, what Devin was saying earlier with like it felt lived in. I forget the name of the map, but there was a map that has a train that just cuts through the middle under like two bridges.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember the name, but I remember playing it vividly. That map felt really fucking good. Just the atmosphere was like, oh, by the way, now the enemy, they're getting fucked over. They now have a train they were able to call in quotations because you know they're just trying to make the team be able to come back. Just having it run through half of the map, because it did just cut through half of the map, and just you hearing the choo choo, just hearing the train blasting things, it just felt super fucking satisfying.
There was like 11 different
that going
seats
in.
on the train. You could like all these
Oh,
different
yeah.
gunners, all these different cannons. Someone drove the train. That's
And they also
harkening
did the
back
artillery.
to in Battlefield 1942, I think Battlefield, I don't know if it was Vietnam as well, but in 1942, you could get into the aircraft carrier and move it. You could just drive
onto
the warships, which was so cool.
Like, I don't know if you remember in the cutscene for 1942, there's a submarine. I never saw this happen, but there is submarine gameplay in 1942.
There is.
And I didn't know that. And when I saw actual video gameplay, I was like, what the fuck? I've never seen that before. But yeah, just all that was just really cool. Just the atmosphere of like, oh, the fucking breakthrough, the story, the little story you'll get with like between two people talking, like, when do you think this war's gonna be over? I don't know, man. We still gotta hold the castle. And like that. And then like if you're attacking, you'll get like your general being like, you gotta attack this point because the Italians destroyed our thing back over there. You know, just that just
oh yeah, like they would always kind of give you a little more.
So good.
Yeah, it's and yeah, it was just immersive. Like the things soldiers would yell, the things you could hear. You know, everybody, like if you're playing on as Germans, everybody's just yelling in German.
The atmosphere was peak in that game.
It was great. It was great. And 5 continued it on mostly, honestly. I mean, it had, you know, certain things that I that were atmosphere, I guess not breaking, but like certain, what do you call it? Some of the skins were a little funny that you could unlock, or some of the specialists or whatever they called them in that game. Elite skins, yeah. But really didn't do much to break my atmosphere, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, some of the, especially once we got to the end of the game and we had the Pacific, what is it called? The Pacific Theater.
For 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pacific Theater.
That was like the atmosphere running around the islands with the different, you know, the Americans and the Japanese was really cool.
Yeah. We didn't actually touch the campaigns for the 3, 4, 1, and 5. Well, we just started talking about 5
campaigns.
I think the campaigns for 3 and 4 are okay. Honestly, I remember replaying through 4 sometime last year or the year before, and I was like, okay, it's not a bad campaign, but it's not anything crazy. It's not nothing to like really write home about, essentially. Same with 3.
Yeah.
I tried to play 3, but I got stuck in one level because there's a scene where they're like, you're in, I think, Iraq. I don't remember exactly where, but I think it's Middle Eastern is the vibe of the area. And I'm saying Iraq a lot. I don't know how I feel about this, but it's Middle Eastern. That's the vibe of the area, and that's literally where that battle is taking place in. You go try and find a squad, and you find out that there's some wires leading out from the Jeep, the Humvee, and you find out that the Humvee was rigged to blow up because of those wires, and because of that, you stopped it because you cut the right wire, because you pressed F because quick time events. In that level, you now have to get onto like the walkway and like hold your ground there. But the AI for some reason just beamed me constantly. It's like I can't get past this because they are just beaming me, and I don't know where to go for them not to kill me right away, so I can push a story. So I just kind of dropped it. So what I'm saying is just from memory, from when the game first came out, the story was okay. I liked the fact that the cutscenes were like past events of the character you're playing as. It's like I got to do this thing, and then it leads into
Oh
the
yeah.
modern times, and you're like, I got to go do this thing, and you like the whole first level of 3 was literally you trying to stop a nuke blowing up, and then it goes back to like what were you doing, like the like agents FBI or whatever CIA was like, what were you doing here at this time, blah blah blah, and you're giving your story up to that point to the train. It was like, oh, that was kind of cool, I guess. But yeah, the story not that memorable, just trying to stop a nuke. And that's really it. 4 I liked a lot more because honestly 4 just hits up, it's just a different vibe from 3, so it just felt better. The story again just kind of okay. I liked being able to command my soldiers like Q, attack
Yeah,
that
I remember
motherfucker
that.
over there.
Yeah, no, I beat 4's campaign. That was I remember it
Yeah.
being pretty fun.
The weirdest thing with 4 though, it's like they didn't need to, was what's the final choice in the
Oh yeah.
story? What do you choose? It's
Who
like
do you save?
yeah, and at the end it's just MIA essentially. They're just MIA. They're not dead
Mm-hmm.
because the game no one nowhere does it say that they're dead. It's just MIA because you don't see the body. Usually
Yeah,
the rule in like media, you don't see the body, not dead.
very true. Off-screen
So
death didn't happen.
yeah. So yeah, the stories to 3 and 4, I personally think were just okay. I don't know if you have anything you want to share.
No, not really. You pretty much touched on all of it. I remember that making my choice in Battlefield 4. I don't remember who I choose, but Battlefield 3 also was it Battlefield 3? Didn't we have the co-op campaign?
Oh yeah, you had the co-op
Co-op
missions you could
missions that
do, like spec op
we
missions.
tried to go through, and
They weren't bad.
no, they
They
were
were
all
okay.
right. I mean,
They were
yeah, and they
okay,
didn't
yeah.
really have story. They were just like, here, we got to extract this dude, drive a
Yeah, you got
Humvee
to destroy this
around,
area. Yeah,
do a thing.
the
Yeah,
Humvee one was a pain in
the
the ass. I
Humvee one
remember
was
that
such a
one.
pain in the ass.
But then moving on to what's on the list? 1, the war stories. Compared to, because the war stories existed from 1 to 5. The war stories in 1 are way better than the war stories in 5, but one war story in 5 blows all the other war stories in 5 out of the water because of just how real it gets.
Mm-hmm.
But with 1, my favorite story is the tank one. I really liked that one
That one was good.
because it just the tank combat and then having to sneak around, I think was really satisfying. It's like, oh, we need this engine piece, and you had to go look through like a
Yup, I
small
remember
town,
that.
and you had to throw like a bullet casing or coins. Like, and so just like we got to go over there, like check it out in like German or whatever. That was really cool, and just the camaraderie of the tanks was really cool. But personally, the best section of like war stories was the intro to the war stories, where it
That
talks
was
about the
good.
war. You're going through the
That was
battlefield,
really good.
and you die, and it's like a person's name, year born, year of death, and you move on to the next person, and then just like every time you die, it's name, year born, year death, and it goes through. Every time I play that, I always try and last really long, but sadly you can't. I don't
Mm.
know if you know, but it's scripted to just eventually an artillery strike hits and everyone there is dead. But that, as we said, peak atmosphere in a Battlefield game, that's like the best moment. So good.
Fantastic.
Um, and then I don't honestly I don't remember. I remember the tank one. I remember there's the Italian one where you're just kind of like in metal armor suit and you're going up like a mountain yourself with a machine gun on your side. But I don't remember that story that well.
I did not play Battlefield 5's war stories at all.
That's 1 still. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah,
Is that
and I
one?
was and yeah, that is 1. It's Italian. You're going.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're wearing like full metal because armor wasn't like a big thing in World War
Yeah.
One. So it's just metal. You're like
Mm-hmm.
a knight, but then because sword combats we're not that far off. You were a knight with just a big machine gun, just pushing through like the Monte Grappa, the mountain map, if you remember.
Mm-hmm.
Basically that.
Yeah.
Um, there was the plain one, which
Plain was
that plain
cool.
one's it was okay. I wasn't the biggest fan.
I like the Lawrence of Arabia one. That was good.
That one was really
That
good.
one was really
Just the
good.
story with the guy and the kid. I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
Was just like you had to run to locations. You had to run through the battlefield, or you could sneak through it. But like running just felt cooler because you're being chased by the enemy. But yeah, I think just the campaigns overall, one takes it. With Battlefield 5's war stories, they're a lot more mid. They're not as great, and I think that's mostly because in terms of gaming, I'm burnt out of World War II. There's a lot of World War II constantly popping up in just media and gaming. It's like, wow, cool.
Oh yeah.
It's we know all the facts at this point. We got it. Personally, I'm good. Take me somewhere else. Give me the details on another location. But you had the war story with the girl and her mom being a scientist, and they were making like learning how to make nukes or whatever. They were like messing with dirty water, stuff like that. There was the shit. I don't even know if I remember the other ones. Oh, you're a guy trying to sneak onto an airfield, trying to blow up planes, and you end up having to chase a plane.
Oh, that one. I remember that
Yeah,
one. That was the Aussie
that
one,
one
right?
was. I think so.
That was a good
You
one.
were a prisoner. You
I
were a
like that
criminal.
one.
That one was I had to like literally Google and read it. And like, oh yeah, I remember it now. Not a bad campaign, war story. It's not bad. It's all right, but I don't remember the details.
I just remember
And
there
you
was
know
a
what's
really
bad?
good moment with like one of the like you were like the guy who was like kind of trying to take you under his wing or something. Like he ended up, I think he died or there's some good moments with him with that one character in that one.
Um, do you not know the war story, or are we talking about the that airfield one
The
still?
Aussie one, yeah.
Is it Aussie?
I'm pretty sure they're Aussies.
I think it is Aussie. I believe you're right. Or maybe they just maybe they were British because right here it says a criminal pulled from a London jail. Maybe you're thinking of Lawrence of Arabia again because he's Australian.
Hmm.
But there was the other one where you're I forget what the force was called. Oh,
Yeah, no,
Senegalese.
it's called
Sorry,
the
what?
Runner Mission.
Are are you still thinking of one?
Yeah.
I went on to five.
Oh, I didn't know we were on 5. I'm talking about 1.
Yeah, yeah one. We're done with the one stories
No,
essentially.
I
The
never
Lawrence
played
of
Battlefield 5. I don't know. Anyways,
the Lawrence of Arabia one. Oh, I see where we both got confused. The Australian one, and I combined the both of them into one. Both the Lawrence of Arabia and then the Runner one are really good.
yes.
Yes, those are good. I like those. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, those are good. Sorry, I confused the two because I think you play as Lawrence of Arabia, and then you play as another Australian guy, the Runner one, and I just kind of combined the both of them as the same guy. So that's not the case. Yeah, both of those are good. I do agree, they're good. I'm now picking apart everything in my brain because it's been so long. Um, yes, the one I was talking about, the plane one was an airfield in 5. You have to sneak onto an airfield and you're a criminal from a jail, and they're like, you have to do this. This is your redemption. You do this and you're free, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And that one wasn't bad. That one was okay. But with Battlefield 5 being Battlefield 5 at the time of launch, it was kind of like a bit jank in some instances. Um, then there was also the second best one, which I hate that the that the best one I'll talk about it when I get there. Um, but the second best one is you are a part of the French colonial forces as a part of I guess just an African squad. You're all it's just a bunch of black people fighting, and then at the end it talks about like we're the ones that liberated this, but history forgets us because they
Mm-hmm.
were erased from history, and that's legitimately something that has happened in history. They like black people were so like, no, you can't be a part of history whatsoever. They'll just take them out of important sections, and it was just like, damn, okay, that one hit hard. I like that one quite a bit. The best one, in my opinion, was the last one that we had to wait for to come out because it was like, this is gonna be the best war story, where you play as German soldiers in a Panzer tank, as far as I'm aware. And it basically is a guy that's realizing, like, oh shit, I've been indoctrinated. And he comes to terms like, I fucked up doing all these things. He realizes the shit he's done, that he can basically never live a normal life. And then he thought that the army was gonna back him up, but I hate that that's my favorite story because it talks about like this guy was indoctrinated. He realized that he fucked up and he can never go back to a normal life. He realized that the party has abandoned him when they blew up the bridge that he was supposed to retreat on. It was like they never cared about us. We're just here to die, and they try fighting their way through. And the only thing, the last cutscene is you see him getting cornered by I think British forces, and he starts surrendering. But then a kid that's fully indoctrinated realizes, "What are you doing? Why are you surrendering?" And then shoots the guy you were playing
Oh,
as like
damn.
you betrayed us, essentially. And I was like, "Oh fuck," because I was like, that guy realized that he fucked up, and it was kind of like that was such a big thing that happened. A lot of people at that time were just indoctrinated to believe that that party was the best thing ever. And that guy at the last moment realized, I have nothing. What I believed in was not worth a damn. And he tried to be like, I surrender, but no, that's it. The cutscene ends on a black screen, but you do hear a gunshot, so you assume that he's dead.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, you audibly hear him surrender, but he doesn't know English. He's a German. But yeah, that's my favorite war story. It does show the rare instances, and there are instances of this in real life where yes, some members believed it so hard when they're like because they felt good about everything, but they didn't truly know what was going on. And the moment they found out, they're like, oh fuck. Because you can see when the guy turns to be like, oh shit, because they hang the body of a child, if I remember correctly. They just hang the body. And the guy didn't do anything wrong. And he just looks at it, he's like, oh fuck, essentially. He's like, I don't know about this anymore. You can see like him just starting to change his tone on things. Like maybe this wasn't the right choice here.
Mm-hmm.
But war stories for Battlefield 5 not as good as one though.
No. I mean, actually, I never
Not
played
as
them,
good.
so.
I
But I'll
don't
take
even
your word.
recommend them. They're not that good. They're not as with the feeling, with the atmosphere of one, with the whole like war's brutal, war's fucked up, and you're gonna see basically what it showed, like with the whole thing in the intro of one, where it's like the date of birth, date of death. That was just saying war is brutal. It worked really well to tell their war stories. In five, it's like it didn't have a good start to that. The tutorial for five is the grand operation that we have, and that's it. Where it's like
Mm.
you're landing in that tutorial, and then you move on to the war stories. It didn't have like a good intro to the stories as a whole. It was just kind of like um here are short stories you can find in the book sort of thing.
Yeah.
Not like here is why war is brutal and why moments of war can be fucked up in one, where moments of war can be fucked up. But yeah, that's my take on the war stories. I will passionately talk about the Battlefield One war stories because I love those war stories, especially the tank one, and then the very start, the tutorial. I guess they're good. I don't know if you have any takes. I
um,
need to take a drink right now. My throat is hurting.
no, yeah, you were going. No, I don't really have much else to say about any of the war stories. Really, we're just here on Battlefield 2042 at this point and beyond, which we've already talked. We've already talked a little bit about 2042, and I don't know what else there really is much to say, rather than I hope they are going to learn a lesson. I hope they will do better, and we will see how long they care to support 2042, and we will see how the next Battlefield they reveal looks. And yeah.
I think with 2042, they need to support it for. I'm thinking personally, at least one more year, at least 1 year, at most 2 years. If they can support it for 2 more years while they still work on the next Battlefield, all right, sure. But if we see a Battlefield announcement this year, I'm not gonna buy it. I don't think there's been enough dev time for that Battlefield game.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see it as worth it. But I'm glad that they have changed their tune on a lot of Battlefield stuff, and then the current Dice team realizes, yeah, we did fuck up. We're listening to the feedback. We're making it better. So I'm excited to play with the class system
Oh yeah,
coming on.
very much.
It's gonna be great.
I'm excited
Oh, and
to.
Breakaway looks great too.
Yeah, Breakaway. Very exciting.
Oh, we're gonna get teasers of fucking Hourglass, dude.
Oh
The
yeah.
stadium map. I want the stadium to be in the middle of the map now. I just want to fight within
I'll just
the
condense
stadium.
it all together. Put it right in the middle
Um,
of like a deserty city. That's what it should have been. I
yeah,
don't know. We will see. I'm hopefully optimist. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic.
same. You can like I don't know if you remember. Sorry, I thought I heard ringtone go off. I don't know if you remember the snaps. The snaps I would send you were like, "Oh my god, it's Battlefield's coming back!" Like I'll be like hyped about things, and we'll like read into it a bit more. It's like, okay, it's just kind of it's just a thing, just a small thing. Any addition and fixes to 2042, I'm like, yeah, let's go because it's a good thing. I just want Battlefield to be good again
I
because
just yeah, and
it's
and
fallen off.
content.
It's fallen off thanks to 5 falling off real hard. I'm still mad. We could have gotten like
Oh yeah.
the the Eastern Front, but we didn't. We just
Oh,
got
we
the
know.
city
Yeah,
instead.
that's the unfortunate thing with Bet Five is we just like obviously we got to see some iconic locations, but some of the locations that we obviously would have really liked to see were missing from the game.
That's my biggest complaint too. Like I get where they were coming from, wanting to not show important locations. They wanted to be like go to locations that you never heard about before in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
But when people want a World War II FPS, they want to go to
Like, give us a good mixture.
the locations, like D-Day, uh, Iwo Jima, which we do have that, I believe,
Yeah.
in the 5 now. Which great map. The Pacific maps are great. Um, like just having the classic locations would have been great, and the mixture of not classic locations, new stuff would have been great as well. Like I don't know why they didn't do that until literally the last update, practically. Big rip, Battlefield 5. Full of hackers. It's difficult to play these days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, one even got bad with hackers. Oh
Oh no,
yeah,
one got really bad.
yeah. Me and mutual friend were playing, and we're like, we're gonna play this one last match, and then we're done because of hackers. It turns out there was a hacker on the enemy team and on our team,
Oh great.
and they were just kind of fucking around. And it was very obviously, if you looked at the kill feed, you'll see the enemy
Mm-hmm.
hack get headshot after headshot. Then our hacker would get headshot after headshot. And we're like, what's the point of doing anything? They're just kind of killing everyone. So we ended it early, which sucks because if only their anti cheat was good.
Well, I haven't had any hacker problem on 2042, so maybe they've done a better job. I'm not sure, but I
Easy
also
anti
haven't
cheat helps.
been playing as much. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on Battlefield. It's been a bumpy ride, but a ride I'm happy to have been on. I hope we can get back to the glory days of Battlefield, and that we don't see this game die and wither away. It's a game I love. It's a game I grew up on. I know it's a game you love.
Not a game I grew up on, but yeah, it's a game I love. A game I grew up in my teenage years on.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that Battlefield can come back, and just seeing the progress they're making is good. And hopefully we don't get an announcement for another Battlefield game because that'd be worrying.
Um.
Just hope they don't pull fucking Anthem.
Oh yeah, I don't know. We will see.
We'll talk
Well,
about that next week.
oh God, Anthem.
Just a little bit, not a whole lot. I can pull up articles. I have them bookmarked.
All right. Well, should we wrap it up?
Sorry, getting a drink. I don't know with what though. Like, thank you for tuning into the podcast.
Yeah.
We appreciate anyone and everyone except racists and homophobes, grabophobes, every asshole in existence. Be a good person.
Love is love.
Video games are fun.
Video games are
That's
fun.
my
Yeah,
that's
they're
my
about
takeaway. Your takeaway
fun
is love is love.
and bringing
Mine
together.
is video games are fun.
Video games are fun. Don't be a dick.
Yeah, be a good person.
Yeah.
This was fun. I actually really enjoyed this.
No, I had a very good time. thank you, any and all, like you said, for watching. We very much appreciate it. I hope you liked the podcast. I know we had a good time. This was good. This is fun. And I hope we can get into a groove that you guys will enjoy. Next, I think this is kind of the format we're gonna be going with, where we kind of just have a conversation at the start. We're gonna have kind of like a weekly topic where we talk about a franchise or a specific game, and then go from there.
Yeah. Honestly, that felt awkward at first because, first time doing it, got to get into the role of things. And I think despite in the beginning, just kind of like, no, I think we figured it out. I think we got there.
We got there.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for watching, everyone. I appreciate it. If you want to know what I'm up to, you can follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/sunshine_Mexico and on twitch.tv/sunshine_Mexico. And take it away.
If you'd like to find me in other places, I'm on YouTube at A Guy Who Smokes Weed, and I am on Twitter at AGWSWeed.
You got to put those links down in the description.
Yeah. And maybe this podcast has a name by the time you see it. And if it does, hooray. And if it doesn't, I don't know what to tell you.